Hi everyone, this is Real World Audio and we are back at our masterclass on active versus passive crossovers. And I have been very technical in the first 4 parts of this series. Now this is going to be an easy to digest episode. I'm not going to go into technicalities, but I'm going to give you that response that many of you were watching this series and hoping to get this information, that which is better, which is the one you choose. You are not interested in how to build one, how to design one, just what are the possibilities, what is the potential for each of them. So I'm going to be very brief on these possibilities, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on them. So first of all, uh, when you read online comparisons between active and passive crossovers, uh, when people talk about them, they usually compare them on unequal grounds. So for example, I have shown you guys at I think the first 2 or 3 parts of this series, uh, a website from a company who sells active crossovers, and they have a very long description that shows the advantages of an active crossover versus a passive crossover. However, that narrative, which I have been following because it is a very good description of what active crossovers can do for you, but it was a totally one-sided description that utterly neglected the advantages of passives, and also utterly neglected the disadvantages of active crossovers, and that would give a really one-sided view of the situation. To have an accurate picture, uh, you have to compare them on equal grounds. So if you are comparing a high quality active crossover, you need to compare it to a high quality passive crossover, because what that website was doing was comparing a good active crossover versus the worst of passive crossovers. Of course, it's a no-brainer situation, and that happens with any kind of technology. If you take a fine specimen and compare it to trash, there's an absolute winner. However, when uh, when you compare the best of the examples of both words, then the tables are very different, and this is the ultimate truth about active and passive crossovers. And basically is that when you have active bi or tri amping, so it means that you are running 2 or 3 channels, or you can run even more. Maybe you have a loudspeaker that has let's say like 8 channels, and then you need 8 amplifiers to do that. When you do this at a high level, then the emphasis of your system, that aspect of the sound where this will excel and provide you unrivaled performance, will be on the frequency extensions, and it will have a sound that reminds you of technical perfection. So when you listen to it, this is what you will get. So if you approach sound and audio from the technical point, you need technical perfection, then active multi amplified crossovers will give you what you want. However, if you do passive crossovers at the highest level, then the emphasis of that system, the strength of that system will be coherence, will be extremely coherent mid-range, and the frequency, the sound will be centered on humanity, when you listen to it, you will relate more to the humans playing the music, and you will relate more to the the world of music. You will be able to connect to the art of those people who are performing. You will be appreciate more their musicality. On the other side, if you use active amplification, you will appreciate more the sound of the instruments. You will appreciate more technology. That's where your attention will be. It doesn't mean that in this situation you have better frequency range, and it doesn't mean that it guarantees you a clearer or whatever characteristic better mid-range, but it will mean, because it depends on your application, how you do it, what is your loudspeaker, what is your amplifier, what is your room, what are the triggers that trigger your subjective experience, but what will be the end result is that the equipment also acts as a focus. And if you have heard a lot of stereo systems and really good ones, then you will know that at the very high level, the specialty that a system brings, that is the hallmark, that it's a refined system, or some would call it high-end system or ultimate system or ultra-fi or whatever. I don't care about labels. It's just the fact that that system has been cultivated. And the main characteristic of a cultivated system is that it focuses your attention. And when you have a system that has been cultivated to a high level with a fine active crossover, your attention will be drawn to the technicality. And if you have a system using a passive crossover cultivated to a high level, your attention will be drawn to the human element, to the people creating the music. You will be able to link to their mindset, to their feelings. I have no words for it. You got to express that, and this is why I made this channel, to steer you guys towards a road, towards solutions and possibilities where you can reach to this experience, where you can connect to music, or you can connect to the sound. Maybe this is what you want. Every one of us wants something different from the music, and I'm here to show you how you can reach your goal. This is the key to it. And what I think could be very well the ultimate truth for those of us, or those of you who want to go to the last step, or the most extreme of experiences, would be the passive multi-amplification. And I think this is a solution that might bring technical perfection and the human focus as well. So it lets you connect to the human in the music, but it also allows you to enjoy technicality of the sound at the highest level. And I myself have not tried this approach yet, so I cannot vouch for it. This is just my mental projection of the situation. And for this situation, what we need to do, passive multi-amplification, I already started to mention it in one of my videos, but I think it's not clear yet for everyone how it is done, because now people just automatically assume that multi-amplification means that you put the passive element after the amplifier. Oh, no. When you do multi-amplification and crossover properly, you put the passive element in front of the amplifier. So your amplifier is linked directly to your driver, and it's at the low level signal, the line level signal, where the passive crossover does its job. And if you think this is something new, no, this is not something new. This was one of the first crossover implementation that has been done. It has been done already in the 50s. For example, I think you all might remember, if you have been following this channel for a long time, well, long time, it's not even a year-old channel, so it couldn't have been such a long time. But around the beginning of my channel, I had a video on the Ampex theater amplifier and about volume and how lifelike sound reproduction can get. And there was an experiment in the 50s when they put a stereo system in a live concert hall, and they pre-recorded the performers playing the performance on reel-to-reel tape, and I used these Ampex amplifiers that I have at home, and I show my videos on them to you, or maybe you can see them on my videos. Of course, it was not the exact same amplifiers, but the same models, and I used similar high efficiency loudspeakers as the ones I'm using these Ampexes with. And this sort of system that they set up, it was a multi-amp system, and they used a passive crossover in front of the amps that were amplifying each of the drivers. And thank you all for tuning in here, and just as a final word of advice is that when you introduce an extra active element, if we are going back here on active amplification, if you introduce an active element, then you are actively editing, manipulating the signal's content. And this is not so apparent, not so obvious, but when you are at the end of your audio road and you have an extremely revealing system, then when you put active editing, you will always notice that something happens to the low-level information. And I have been hearing some reports. I think Demo posted in one of my videos really fascinating, interesting reports what he has done, which contradicts this experience. So that's part of my message. Just keep an open mind and don't believe and don't take for granted anything I say. It always has to be validated by your experience. You have different ears than I have. Your hearing is trained differently than my hearing, so you might experience something else, and you will be trying out different equipment than what I have been experiencing, so that will give you also different experience. And really, that's the reason of my channel, is that I cannot try out everything on my own. That's why I'm sharing you my knowledge, so you can try out ideas for which I do not have time or opportunity to try out. So thank you all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Bye bye.